first. That's really scary for ROX.
Definitely so, and that is in the future. Right now, it's about this one game, who gets first place in Group A. Brand is no surprise. We want to see a Poppy ban as well, because Smurf, when he's not on Poppy, has struggled up in that top lane. Challenge Albus NoX Luna to pick some of these carries and then see if they can actually snowball or not.
Yeah, bans that I would have liked to have seen from ROX Tigers would have been either Poppy, Brand, or Trundle, and try to see if Smurf actually can play carry top laners, take him off the tanks, and force him to really play against Smeb.
Seems like they want to first pick Elise again. The same thing we saw before. They banned both Syndra and Vladimir. Clearly do not trust Kuro on that Syndra. They don't want to first pick it. Albus can go for an Elise ban here. And then suddenly the two main jungle picks for Peanut is removed. Alistar is still available, and I talk about it a lot, but I think Gorilla on that Alistar is just fantastic.
What is that?
Oh, they're giving Elise.
Olaf. Yeah, they give it Elise. God damn it. They give Elise, they give Alistar.
That's a wasted ban, because even if you leave the Olaf open and just ban like Teemo or something, he's still gonna pick Elise.
Yeah, that Olaf ban's a little bit suspicious unless they're reading into something from like scrims or whatnot, because Peanut hasn't played Olaf.
No, they banned it. ROX Tigers used to ban the Olaf against people who plays a lot, and they just saw this pick and ban phase with the Syndra Vladimir ban on blue side. Definitely do not agree with the Olaf ban. I would have much preferred like an Alistar ban, unless you're planning on taking it now for the crit. But then you're removing him from some of the big playmaking range support where he's actually looked really, really good. So if you don't pick Alistar here, why didn't you just ban it?
Yeah, that really doesn't make too much sense to me. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if ROX just goes, okay, we're playing our game. Peanut's got Elise again. Kuro, have Victor. Prey, take Lucian. Oh.
Just quickly, what is going on? Poppy was open, they didn't take it. They didn't take the Alistar. Lucian are a decent comfort picks, but Aurelion Sol and Ezreal are great picks for both these players.
And Albus NoX Luna has been the only team in the tournament to first rotation something like Lucian. Almost every other team, they'll look at like the big 380 carries being Jhin, Ezreal, and Sivir. Albus NoX Luna valued a Lucian so highly, but it's not about even you valuing it that high. It's also, will the other team take it or not? There's no point in taking a pick like Lucian early if the other team is not very likely to take it themselves, because then you could save it and pick higher priority picks. But they clearly value that Lucian so much, and they want to make sure they get it no matter what.
Right. And I don't know if that karma is going to be put onto Kuro. I hope not. While I trust Kuro to live in the laning phase and farm up with that karma, I don't want to see ROX Tigers go with the karma comp to the last game.
Well, the problem is we won't get any Alistar then if it's karma support.
Yeah,
a weird one actually, and just to correct myself, Aurelion Sol was not picked, it was Karma instead, but Ezreal's nice comfort there for Prey. Back to comfort for Stayhos as well. Kira going to take Victor away from Kuro, and Graves going to be the pick there for the jungle. So decent jungle matchup. Stayhos should be happy here, but they are last picking support, it feels like, for Lucrit, which I do like, but we'll see what ROX answer with here.
Yeah, if your support has a big champion pool, you can definitely save it for last pick, and you have a lot of different choices that can kind of shape your composition. Graves is fine against Elise. He can actually duel Elise after like level 4 and 5, especially once he gets some attack speed and attack damage. You can kill the Spiderlings very easy and just burst down the Elise. But you are surrendering early ganks, and ROX Tigers have shown when Peanut is on Elise, they can actually get the early advantage. Have a few ganks early. We saw the level 3 gank in the bot lane. So ROX Tigers, I feel, are getting a lot of strong picks here.
Now that is a Rise locked in, and instantly you saw Kira select that cleanse. You cannot mess with the snare from Rise chained into Cocoon from Elise. Way too scary. Now, I'm a little bit uncomfortable though, I'll be honest, going into this game. Rise is not a champion I would typically associate with Kuro. Very high mechanical intensiveness, and a lot of reliance on roam and setting up plays with this team, which generally that's not what you think of when you think of Kuro.
Yeah, definitely so. Rise is a super strong duelist. Like, if he gets a 1v1 in a side lane, he's fantastic. His team fighting can be very difficult to execute. His main damage is a skill shot, can easily get blocked. And also he's fairly low range, so he has to kind of kite around team fights. And if you look at the composition from Albus NoX Luna here, there's a lot of team fighting power. Graves, Gnar, and Victor are very, very strong team fighters. Good scaling as well, and all those 3 picks, kind of only the 80 carry falling behind a little bit. But I think Albus, they saw the rise and knew, okay, there's a potential of some split pushing going on. We're gonna pick hard engage. That is the Bard. We've seen 2 games where Liquid played it. 1 game he was awful and didn't hit anything. And the next game he hit almost everything and was one of the big carries against CLG earlier today.
When that's gonna, I'm wondering if that's Tank Karma. I'm really wondering. There was a challenger player in Korea server which actually made a lot of top Korean teams practice Tank Karma in scrims. That's a long time ago, but it's pretty obnoxious.
So what would be the build order?
Oh, no.
He's support. Or she's support.
Yeah, no, but the screen.
Oh, you thought it was the top. Yeah, I've seen the tank top lane Karma. I get you.
That's weird.
All right, so standard stuff here as it turns out. Don't forget those, God damn it. Don't forget those hashtags, of course. Hashtag ROX win or hashtag ANX win. Battle for first place begins now. Not the teams I thought we would be seeing.
Well, one of them.
Yeah, sure. ROX Tigers I didn't expect them to need a tiebreaker, but they are going to need it here. We'll see if Albus NoX Luna can turn the trick again with an upset, or if ROX claim maybe their rightful or expected place in the group. 30 Flash players are going to move into our last game of the day for Group A.
Now both teams can, in a way, relax a little bit because they are guaranteed to go into the quarterfinals, but at the same time, getting that first place is so important at the World Championship. It can mean everything for you when it comes to getting that first BU5, especially if you're Albus NoX Luna. You don't want to have to face a team like SKT in a best of 5 as your first quarterfinal. But this pick-a-man phase, in my opinion, is risky, very risky on the side of Albus NoX. Giving away Elise again to Peanut. He just showed the last game. He was MVP. He was all over the place. If ROX Tigers can win the early game, they will for sure win the late game as well. Just because they are such a good late game team. We saw how hard it was for Albus to close out that game. It took them 30 extra minutes. And they almost lost the game as well. Something
I'm worried about, though, for the ROX Tigers is they have 5 sources of magic damage. Ezreal does deal a little bit of magic. And that's a little bit worrisome because that means that once Stejos gets the Maw, once Gnar starts getting Guardian Angel, Spirit Visage, once a Miracle gets QSS, there's a lot of resistances that can come out for their team, and it can make it very difficult to close out for ROX.
And also the lack of front line on the side of ROX Tigers. It's very hard to play late game team fights when you don't have like a tank or 2 in front of you. So as a DPS, you have to constantly worry about where you are in these fights, because if one guy lands some CC on you, you die just instantly because there's too much damage on the other side. Graves, Victor, Lucian, they will just burst you down instantly. So that is very difficult to play around, but ROX Tigers are putting so much focus on winning that early game and snowballing it. This is a level 2 gank in the bottom lane.
Speaking of early game, Gorilla could be in trouble here. Stejos going to look for a prey, going to try and take him down. The stun lands on the Gorilla go, and Stejos is going to move in, but ROX do dodge it. Very cheeky there from Stejos, and he's taking a lot of damage. Prey might go back in, but thinks better of it this time.
Got a flash and a heal away from the bot lane of ROX Tigers. One summoner used on the other side from Liquid. If you don't follow up now to try and kill the Karma, then your gank was sadly not worth it, because now as a jungler, you sit on 1 CS because you killed the Grump. And that's it. And Peanut, well, he's already done 3 camps once this little annoying wolf decides to die. So he's just power farming the jungle, and the other guy has a Grump.
Yeah, but I don't think that's so painful for Stejos as it could be if he was another jungler. And this is primarily because Graves' interaction in the top lane and mid lane, we look at Victor, we look at Gnar, he doesn't really have a lot of ability to gank those lanes anyway. So as long as his laners play defensive and he can just safely farm up, the onus is on Peanut to make something happen.
And Peanut is on Elise, the best early ganker. So I think actually Peanut is fine with that, and I think that's exactly what he wants, be able to set up ganks here. PvP Stejos taking a bit more damage.
Nice play from Kira. His Gorilla roamed up as well. Kira now gonna get himself zoned away, and Peanut's also in the area. ANX have to tread very carefully here.
Yeah, gonna be 3 buffs now for the ROX Tigers. No blue buff for PvP Stejos. Has to go top side.
Good little stun there from Gorilla, actually getting the tether, but this is kind of what we expected. Stejos went for the cheeky play, did not pay off, and now Peanut's just gonna take away his blue, and Stejos can't really do anything in this jungle. Peanut very far ahead. 10 CS to 4 right now, and it's getting worse and worse for the Graves.
Yeah, really good for Kuro to get that blue buff. You see, starts with the Mana Crystal. What you want to do is rise in this matchup, is just get enough gold for your tier, go back, get your tier, return to lane, while the Victor is not on 1250 gold, so he can't recall for Hexcore, and then just play super aggressive with potion advantage, with mana advantage, and look for these trades and stop the Victor from getting a good back.
And a lot of poke coming out from ANX here, and oh, this is very aggressive.
Yeah, it certainly is. Here, they're doing there's first blood. Actually, up Pina, and now Miracle going to get over again. Pina, can he do it once more? He can. Pray this time with a double. Perfect dive from ROX Tigers.
Such a nice setup in the bottom lane. All starts with the jungler falling behind, and then ROX Tigers invading that jungle, taking away blue buff. Lecrit was very low in the bottom lane. That was a very easy dive for ROX Tigers.
Yeah, and that was fantastic for them because it gives Peanut a lot of initiative over Steos. And I want to point out in mid lane, Kuro went super aggressive with Kira because Ryze has a much simpler recall timing, given that he only needs to purchase that tier.
It's just a dive before here. Lecrit was so low. I mean, super easy for Peanut to just walk in, pick up a free kill. And as Elise, you can always reset the tower aggro, and then you can get back out alive. So really, really good dive in the bottom lane. And some of the problems, if you lose early game this hard, you start falling behind, especially in the jungle, and then the enemy can just invade on you. Another problem, we talked about the Victor back timing twice. He went back right now. Didn't exactly have the best first buy as a Victor.
Yep. And that's definitely going to stunt his itemization because now it also attacks Victor's wave clear. So very far behind across multiple lanes right now for ANX.
This is so dangerous as well from Steos trying to face check Gorilla. Gonna get aggressed on once more. Prey goes in, he needs off. Doesn't land it, but here that go Kuro in with the ghost, does get it, gets the snare just to ensure the kill, and Steos too late there, although this might be it here. Pina gets one Cocoon, gonna land it back in there as Gorilla's trying to do what he can. Kuro will get a kill back there and take out the Ryze. ROX with a tiny misstep there.
Yeah, use 2 summoners on Kuro as well just to pick up another kill in the bottom lane, but they're putting so much focus on getting Prey and Gorilla further ahead and just taking some of the free kills they can pick up in the bottom lane. They don't care about the enemy jungler right now. They don't care about the enemy Victor either. Getting a kill is important for Kiro though, because as we talked about, he fell behind with his first back. It didn't get to upgrade his Hex Core, really impacting his wave clear with the laser. But getting a kill is important. Peanut, he's looking for more ganks. Sadly for him, that ward had a few seconds left to live, and actually did spot him.
And right now, Lecrit...
Oh my god.
Flash and everything. This is falling apart for Albus NoX Luna.
That's not good at all.
Correct.
So everything across all lanes is just not going very well. The only saving grace they have is Smurf up in top lane is going even in CS, but Smeb does have that assist.
Yeah, really, Smurf needs to get a Hex String on this matchup.
I like that a lot, but attempt fails there. Steos gets out of the way, and Kuro decides not to commit to traveling through the portal. Again, we talk about Pin and how good his early game is. This is what's kind of been missing from the early stages, but the last game here versus CLG, and now this game again versus ANX for their rematch tiebreaker. Peanut's looking on fire, and maybe it's the Elise, maybe it's just a bit of confidence he got back, but this is what we expected to have happen, and it's great to see Peanut kind of at the class we expected him to be coming into the World Championships.
Yeah, definitely setting him up for success. More aggressive early game last game, this game as well. Sadly, I have to highlight that the bottom lane from Albus losing this hard, and Steos with the level 2 gank is almost hurting Albus more than it actually, in a sense, benefit Peanut in his own performance, because at this point, they just have to walk down and pick up the kill. It's just a minion waiting to get last hit down that bottom lane. At least if you look at the last 2 kills they've got. A Miracle and Lecrit got to step it up.
Yep. And now we see Gorilla roaming, trying to get some vision on. What they're trying to do right here is they want to find Stejos, just so they can know exactly where he is and where he can go for the next few moments.
Well, they found him because there's a ward there, and there's the face check again. Gorilla. Bit of damage there as the tether going to move in as well. Kuro can jungle the ultimate, doesn't have it back yet, but so much threat here from the ROX Tigers on this bottom side of the map. I mean, sure, let Smeb and Smurf farm it out. They've got teleports if they need to join, but ROX has so much control over 2/3 of the map from mid and bottom lane. There's a Drake up if they want it, like one lane going even, 2 lanes winning, and the jungler winning as well. That's exactly what ROX want.
In an early game meta with only standard lanes, having 2 winning lanes often means you can take full control of the map, because you can just decide so easily where you want to make plays. If you can always push bot lane, always push mid lane, your mid laner can always roam very easily to that bottom lane. You dive or you force them off towers, take that first tower, you extend the goal lead, and then suddenly Dragon is right behind you. You can take that for free, and you can just get so many things so quickly. And it's really hard to actually come back in this meta here. Once you'll start losing these outer turrets, comeback mechanics, it's basically you winning a big team fight. But that is where the ROX Tigers have been good in every game they've played so far.
Yep. And oddly enough, ANX's team composition you would expect to be stronger in the first team fight, given that Ryze needs time to build up, as does Ezreal. They have 2 tier lanes, but because of how the early game transpired, it's just not looking very good for them. And when the 12-13 minute mark hits, it's probably going to be a lot of chaos.
That's rough because here Kuro and Kira going to go head-to-head once more. Kuro, gets himself out from under the ultimate, and Peanuts at it again.
Oh, they actually TP in here. It's going to be a fight in the bottom lane.
Interesting stuff here. Liquor trying to lock them up. Does have the ultimate, but will get locked down. Gorilla dodges out of that ultimate, and Peanuts wants the cocoon. Doesn't get it. Smeb TP's his way down as well. Has the ulti. ROX can just keep pressuring here.
Yeah, I'll pick the Rumble teleport every single time if it's against the Mininar showing up, throwing one boomerang, and then kind of walking away. I think Smurf was just trying to react instead because he saw Elise walk around the corner and he wanted to be there for safety. In the end, he shows up and has no impact. Tower goes down, exactly what ROX wanted and what we talked about. When you have these winning lanes, you can just so easily pressure the tower. That's the first goal for you. Kira taking a lot of damage.
Oh, that's not good news. Clem splashes out of the way. Might be safe, but the snipes there. Prey again on point with the skill shot as he claims another victim.
Yeah, and now that's going to be Dragon. Cloud Drake handed over to the ROX Tigers. And honestly, this Dragon's not so bad because they are very proactive right now. They have dominance across the map, and ANX is just basically being forced to ward defensively. So the Cloud Drake's going to actually do a great deal of wonder for them.
Yeah, and when you are winning the early game, you just want whatever Dragon, honestly, because stacking a few of them in case you can't finish the game for when you get Elder Drakes later with the extra buffs is super, super valuable. And you kind of just want to roll the dice on the next Dragon now. Hope it is an Infernal or a Mountain to snowball the game even further. Cloud is fine to get multiple Clouds is actually really, really strong if you have the advantage on the map. And nice little snipe from Prey here. Second time he snipes a member from Albus. Some easy kills for him. And ROX Tigers are in full control in this game.
And the Ionian Boots also completed for Kuro, by the way. That's just so he can make use of his summoner spells that much more often, not electing to just blitz straight into the first item. So lots of aggressive build paths and just aggression coming out from Tigers. And oh, Kira.
Really just in there. Prey again doing decent damage. She's from Kira, almost blows one up, but Prey now on a rampage as Liquid's going to get chased down. Repel is very nice. And that should line up another one. They do take the turret.
Nice.
Great double binding, and there's one. But Prey will live through the day, and ROX going to keep pushing down mid.
Gets one here, but Albus, they have zero control over the map. They're just getting ganked left and right. Smeb is coming in, wants to join the party, realizes he actually wasn't invited, and does step away. And if ROX Tigers can just keep snowballing this game and close it very quickly, then you're going to have a lot of teams in the other groups looking at a game like this, looking at the G2 versus Albus game as well and saying, we want to face those guys. Because they've shown 2 games in a row now that they can really fall behind early and just keep giving up kills.
Here comes that tether from Gorilla there, and they just chain everything onto Kira, and he just went down instantly. Lecrit, though, with a really nice Cosmic Binding, was able to enable Steos to try to salvage that situation, but unfortunately couldn't finalize the kill onto Prey there.
A little too aggressive, perhaps. It's Smeb coming down to try and get some damage done and take the tower and maybe even dive it. ROX a little on the back foot as Albus NoX Luna will push themselves forward. But this gold league got out of control so quickly. ROX are already 3.5, 4th up, build ahead. Look at Steos here as Kuro does make his way into the ultimate this time, and that's a flash forward out actually from Albus NoX Luna. They'll tie up 2 once more with the Cosmic Binding, but ROX just continue to apply pressure after pressure on Albus NoX Luna. They're going to run out of health bars, summoners, towers. At some point, this just cascades for ROX, and they'll grow this lead more and more, which is a huge worry for ANX right now.
Definitely is a big issue when you don't get these towers down as well, because you need that gold to kind of snowball yourself or throw yourself towards the first and 2 item spikes, so you can start fighting. If you look at your items right now, you see an Ezreal being pretty far ahead of a Lucian, the kills, the farm, everything. So Lucian would normally have that super good mid game against a tier champion. It's not really going to be that impactful because this Ezreal's going to hit 2 items before Lucian even gets close to his second item. It's going to be like Ghostblade completed for him, and then Prey picks up his second item at the same time and will just be much, much stronger. So this is just ROX Tigers in the driving seat. As long as they don't make any crazy, crazy dives, they can just keep getting more gold.
And they're rotating top lane right now, trying to pick up this tower, but they're not going to be able to. Kira rotates up. Peanut gonna be able to clear that pink ward as we can see on the mini-map, but this is just basically gonna be a posture from both teams. Obviously, Ryze wants to complete into that, into his items and continue to scale up. They're not looking for a fight right now. Kuro even stealing away blue buff.
They're just looking to apply pressure over the entire map. What they're doing is they pick a strong side of the map, and that's where they send most of their members, so that's the top side. Right now, the Ryze, no one can duel him 1v1, so he's safe to sit in the side lane. They don't have to play around him. They play around Prey instead, who's the most fed member, and they know if they just keep having 3 or 4 guys where Prey is, they can push all the way into tower, get a bit of poke, get a bit of damage on the turret, and then you also separate Albus NoX Luna and let that Ryze sit in the side lane and getting a 1v1.
Yeah, and one of the rarer things this tournament has been the Rift Herald right here, and this is because it's an opportunistic buff. Generally, you can only take it if there's almost nothing else to do on the map, because it is very risky to take if you can get contested, but it's a very big pickup if you do secure it.
Well, nice there to go over to Smeb, who, again, has gone pretty even in the lane, but will be happy to get it relatively late throughout the game. The half for 20 minutes, of course, so 35 minutes on the buff. Not the latest possible. We did see that already in the tournament, but again, things just continue to go right here for ROX. They are slowing down a bit, and ANX are holding onto some of their turrets, but that should finish at some point. They'll start crashing down and get further ahead, and ANX will have a 7,000, 8,000, maybe even 10,000 gold lead to contest with, and we're only 15.5 minutes into the game. That's the craziest thing.
Exactly. ROX Tigers, it almost feels like we're further into the game and they've just been playing well, gotten a small advantage, but no, they've just gotten so many kills, so much extra gold. Peanut picked up the Rift Herald buff as well. So just make his Elise even stronger. Rumble is not a split pusher. He's going to join his team every time. They want Peanut in a situation where he can invade in 1v1, get a bit of extra damage as well down. If he finds the enemy jungler, just set up this Elise to be a carry, basically. We know he's going to go full AP, just like last game.
Yep. And top tier 1 tower will fall now for ANX. And with this going down and Dragon coming up in 20 seconds, I mean, the bot lane for ROX Tiger is going to recall, rotate to that, and we can expect to see a team fight break out. And it's a second Cloud Drake, which it's not the worst. ROX would have liked a Mountain Drake or an Inferno Drake more, but it's still a win given that it's tier 2.
Exactly. Don't be greedy. You get the towers, you get the kills. You take whatever dragon the game wants to give you. You're happy, you're smiling while you take it. Seems like they actually are fine giving it up. Actually, no, never mind. They are moving, so this might be...
Might as well fight, right? That's so
big
far
fight
ahead.
for Albus. There are some good items completed on Albus now. Ghost Blade, Hex Core as well.
Oh. Man, had to get protopelts himself into the wall. Drake will actually go over to ANX, so nice little take there, but Kuro may be locked up there. W's down. Good damage drop from the Ryze. Kuro Rotovate is ticking up, only getting stronger. ANX might have to give this up here. Smeb ready with TP and level 2 ultimate. This will be a tough defense if Albus NoX Luna choose to try and save this out of mid.
I mean, at some point they have to try and fight. The problem is they would like to get more items under their belt, but they won't really be able to because you know ROX Tigers are going to keep forcing. So while ROX Tigers are still, not max level, not sitting on multiple completed items, Albus might just have to try and fight because they have enough damage in the early game. And there's a lot of squishy members on the ROX Tiger side to just try a catch with the Bard. If you hit it, get 1 or 2 kills, it buys you more time. If you don't, you're just gonna lose your towers anyway.
Yeah, and they as you mentioned, they need to fight before Ryze gets that second item or before Rumble completes one of his first major core items.
Zoning ulti from the Ryze, and that's...
I love it.
Very defensive ulti from the crit.
Ooh, Steos actually chunked out as well. That's bad news that Kuro caught out. Can they catch him though? Here's a question. He has Pop Ghost. He's got Flash as Prey. Look for an ultimate. Does not snipe anyone. Prey a little low though to take damage from Kira, who used the ultimate, but Prey can still poke in here. ROX likely to continue their siege, although looking at the recalls on the minimap, actually taking their time and look to reset the situation. ROX are playing very carefully this game, which
yes.
I do like to see.
A lot of teams at Worlds have taken a lot of chances in the early game. It's given us very exciting games, a lot of action, a lot of fights, a lot of dives, and everything going on. If you get a big advantage and you just play super, super safe, you get a game like this, where you almost never give the other team a chance to get back. We say that, and Koro might actually be caught.
Not good here, but Smurf not going to contend with Gorilla. Coming in to save his mid laner there as well. Kuro starting to maybe get pressured a bit here in the side lane, and Kira back in to Prey, who has stayed in the mid lane to try and keep pushing it in. ROX again there. A little slow to kind of reset these things, staggering their backs a bit, but looks like Peanut and Gorilla will maybe move bot to make another play, but do have to protect Prey right now. Although Liquid caught could be bad stuff. Good flash out of the tether. He will keep his life for now.
Yeah, and Baron coming up now in a minute here. It looks like Stejos looking to steal away this blue buff, and it's going to go uncontested. And bot tier 1 turret probably not going to fall as we see Kuro and Peanut moving over there. But Gorilla is here.
So they're trying to gank bot lane, but top lane as well. We have Albus trying to gank on Smeb.
Very nice from Peanut. Now's the Cocoon. He's going to proto-belt in for the kill with Smeb. Maybe get caught here. Can he outplay 1v3? Not this time around. Liquid with, of course, the kill.
And we simply had two top laners pushing for the turrets without any backup. They both go down, so they trade 1 for 1, but now Kira in mid lane.
Oh, good ult there from Kira. Prey trying to make the big play here. No ulti from Ezreal means that Kira will likely live, and that tick almost takes out Prey. Late shield from Gorilla, but it doesn't matter. Here comes Stejos. He's looking for the ulti. Does have it. Doesn't get this time, but Gorilla blocks it. There's one, forcing the flash out as the Fate forces Gorilla to play back.
A lot of flashes being used here. No flash for Karma, no flash for Ezreal. If there is a potential fight, this might be the best moment for Albus to try and pull their way back for real. Dragon is spawning fairly soon, and the flashes won't be available for that fight.
Yeah, and one of the things to note is that anytime that they trade summoners on ADC or mid, it comes up sooner for ROX Tigers because of those Ionian boots. So it's not exactly a one-to-one fight, but Victor does have it.
Yeah, Peanut goes in again.
Also dead.
Stejos trying something there as Peanut just destroying people once again. 4-0-2 almost takes out Stejos as they want this turret.
Just want to remind people, Olaf was banned instead of Elise.
Yep.
And Elise was insta-lock, again like last game.
Ooh, nice try. Doesn't get it this time, but Peanut again playing up and aggressive. Stejos just can't really do anything about it. Gonna get himself Cocoon. Peanut wants to close the gap and get himself another kill. Moves his way down, takes one down, mid-turret goes, and it's just all gone up in flames for Albus NoX Luna right now.
20 minutes in, everything is falling apart, much like the game against G2 for Albus NoX Luna. Not been the two greatest games to end this group stage on, but they are in the quarterfinals. They will be very happy with that. They can be very proud as well. And now they will have a week to get ready for quarterfinals. So will the ROX Tigers. Judging from the game right now, it will be ROX Tigers as the first seed, as expected. So I guess all this craziness in the end didn't actually matter for the top Korean team.
Yep. And this game right now, it's just slipping away from ANX. And with Ocean Drake coming up next, I actually wouldn't be surprised to see ROX not take it.
Just go Baron instead?
Then just go Baron instead, because it's not an objective that they really need. But ANX needs the Dragons to keep respawning to maybe hope to get to an Elder Drake fight at some point. And so just by not taking it, you deny that from ever happening.
Yeah, I don't think ANX can get multiple Baron steals like ROX managed to do when they played earlier. ROX have shown they're very, very good ones actually setting up that deep vision around the Baron, start the Baron, they disengage from it and take a team fight or just back away and reset the whole thing.
Well, you can see ROX, we've mentioned it before, but just how far they're ahead based on the game is pretty nuts right now. 22 minutes in, Gorilla and Stejos having a battle, but Gorilla just gets away by shielding himself. Peanut clearing out the vision. ANX are poised to try and contest here, but they're 8,000 gold and counting behind at 22.5 minutes. ROX just have everything in their favor right now. And you said at Divicio, ANX do have to pick some fight, but it gets worse as the game goes on.
We're looking at Liquid. We gotta see that ulti.
Give me the big bot ult.
Like, there's been no flash on Gorilla, no flash on Kuro before this. There were targets. Peanut another one if you get him before he repels up in the air. It is so difficult as a bot when you're like the main engage now. Because that ulti is fairly predictable as well. And if it's too far away, you can just move out of it.
Maybe looking for something there, but doesn't go in. Just pops the ghost and threatens to make a play there. ROX playing around the Ocean Drake, just going to walk back to it. Smurf is building up rage in the bottom half here, but ANX looks like they're not going to pull the trigger. They might try to do something with Lecrit, but they have to go now. And not going to get it. ROX to kill the Drake, and actually Prey going to go in there. Peanut, good flash there, but everyone else is coming in, I think. Kuro does make it forward. Good snipe there, but they found Kira. Damage is great there as Smurf rocks down the equalizer, flashes forward, and makes sure the kill goes down. Stejos still going to live, but a good hourglass there from Smurf. He's going to save him. Gorilla takes out Stejos. Good ult there from Smurf. Does take out Gorilla, but Prey and Peanut still fighting on the other side, and that's 3 kills to 1, I believe, in favor of ROX Tigers.
Yeah, and Americal and Licorice do manage to get out there, but honestly, at what cost? They just burned so many summoners, and ROX Tigers were able to actually secure the dragon. So this is not what ANX needed to happen, because now it probably means they're going to lose this mid-tier 2 turret.
Sadly for them, they probably would have lost it anyway in this situation. ROX Tigers in full control. looking at that sweet, sweet first place right now. We'll probably look back at the last 2 weeks and be disappointed in a lot of ways. We expected much more. Weak early games have been fixed by picking Elise for them in the last 2 games at least. We see the fight from before. Stun just doesn't connect from Kira. He has no flash. He's in a choke point against a Rumble as well. Not exactly the greatest spot to be in. Stayhurst kind of jumps into it, into the flame spit. It's like, oh.
And Smurf ended up trying to get Gorilla, but he could not. And I mean, Lecrit and Miracle, they tried to salvage the fight as best as they could, but they're too far behind.
Yeah, and the sheer amount of damage like Smeb, Kuro, and Prey are all doing right now, especially given again that time the game is kind of just out of control at this stage. 10,000 gold up now officially for the ROX Tigers and ANX. We've seen like one miracle game to get themselves into the quarterfinals. I don't know if they have another one in them, and ROX looking so clean, so crisp, and finally getting it all together when it mattered here, trying to take first here in the group. The last 2 games, this one included, of course, as we are still playing, have been probably their best games of the tournament so far. Do they close strong here and show just how good the #1 team from Korea is? We'll have to find out.
So far, so good. We can't really question anything they've been doing in this game. Can't call anything wrong. We can just praise them for playing slow and steady. Don't give NX a single chance to get back. The last thing maybe we can fault them for is the Baron execution. But knowing the ROX Tigers, they're probably going to be just fine there. Lecrit is caught out. He's trying to escape.
Forced to flash. Ulti isn't up for Gorilla, but Prey moves in. That's an easy kill for Smeb, and ANX just giving them away. Now, we haven't seen that big play to try and get themselves in the game, and they're just running out of time. Kira again getting styled on by Peanut as he proto belts in. Aggressive dive, but the damage is there. Kira barely lives and almost gets some kills. Snipes him. There was 2 ultis coming. Smeb gets that one.
And now that's going to mean the top tier 2 turret is going to go down. And also, I have to point out, the Steos' build, I'm not a very big fan of it. You need damage, and the Phantom Dancer, it just doesn't do it. I feel like it's a very old style of Graves, and that's not the type of thing that they needed to do in this game.
Wants to shoot fast.
Correct.
Or reloads.
Well, he's going to do that, but again, with only 1 item completed, no more is making it troublesome as you can see Lecrit trying to do something here, but too much damage for the ROX Tigers.
I like the top lane trade. Peanut with the AP Assassin Elise going in. I guess Kuro's here for support, nothing else.
I like this, so ANX pushing in, but that's another threatening ultimate. Are they anyone there? The 3 members out of the ROX Tigers in. Sales gets blown to pieces. Prey now unstoppable.
Now ROX Tigers probably looking poised to take this Baron, as there's no smite available for ANX. And honestly, Victor does not have the type of damage where he can threaten to try to steal it. So unless Peanut really messes up here, this is going to be a free Baron for the Tigers.
Did you jinx it? Let's see. Cast a curse.
Easy.
Nope.
Peanut very crisp and clean there. Does get the Baron. Juggler dead means it should have been straightforward, and it was for the ROX Tigers. And ANX just haven't play it, and ROX keep making them. That's the great thing. They've been very proactive in this game. From the early game, now 27.5 minutes in, looking to close it out.
Very few junglers we actually trust with their smites, but Peanut is one of them. He's been spot on whenever he's been around this Baron here. Secures another one. Tower going down. Albus NoX, Luna, we're looking at a last team fight, but honestly, even if you do win a last team fight, it might be too late, and ROX Tigers is looking to show dominance and securing that first seed.
Yeah, and they're probably just going to take this mid inhibitor and then back off. That's what I would like to see them do, because it is very slow and steady, and now they're going to move up to top lane, where they do have another minion wave right at that tier 3 turret. And honestly, ANX, they can't even resist this. They don't have the type of wave clear that they need. They don't have the damage. They can't go on them.
This is so hard for Lecrit. Every ulti, you said it, it's feast or famine Deficio.
Yeah.
You either make the big play and keep your team in the game, or win them the game, or this happens. And who's going in this time? It's no one. I love this game. Who's in the ulti? No one this time, but Smeb flashes in, takes out Miracle. Lecrit maybe goes down as well. And ROX are so far ahead, though. Clean sweep, perhaps, through the back 2 games here. ANX are living for a little while longer, but ROX are going to try and end it on now.
Trying to get some kills at the fountain. The Nexus turrets are still alive. Minions are here now, and they're buffed by the Baron. 3 guys to defend on the side of Albus.
And they're all full HP, but I don't think that the tower is actually going to be able to live. It looks like there's too many minions pouring in here. Kira 19 seconds away, Americal 5 seconds away, but there's only one tower remaining.
I mean, Gorilla's tanking there with his face, but relatively tanky on the Karma. Smoke goes in, looks for the ulti, finds a couple, but the Nexus now open. Liquid almost going to go down, and ROX Tigers, better late than never, show up to end their tournament and finish #1 in Group A.
Yeah, definitely feels like in the end, ROX Tigers said, it's serious now. We actually almost lost our first seed, and we almost lost everything.
Yeah, they almost didn't make it out of groups,
Exactly.
which would be insane.
Wouldn't even have advanced if they hadn't beaten CLG. So really seems like ROX Tigers put on a try-hard hat here in the end. Played some very serious games. Not really risking anything. Good pick and ban phases, good execution in-game. We got the Elise from Peanut again. 7-0-6 in this game, 10-1 in the other one.
You
So
can't
good.
give Peanut Elise. You just can't give him Elise or his Nidalee.
But the Olaf ban.
But the Olaf
Oh
ban,
my.
that was the most suspect thing for me the entire day, because Peanut hasn't shown that he plays it. So why ban Olaf? It doesn't make any sense, because it's very unlikely that ROX Tigers are going to resort to an Olaf composition in their final game.
Right. They've been banning it themselves. We haven't really seen Peanut play it. Still, after some weeks,
Yep.
more practice, people do pick up a lot of different champions. Smeb played Gnar for the first time all summer in the last game. This one, he gets his Rumble. Often banned against him. Great performance from him. Everyone honestly played well. It all started level 1, level 2 with the jungle gank that failed. Bot lane lost from Albus. They got ganked and they all died.
And finally, a big clean game from ROX, so definitely deserving of that rank 1 finish here in the group with 2 very impressive games. Important to remember, Albus NoX Luna, still very strong. Amazing that they made it here anyway. That what they had to do to get to this spot was pretty insane, and they did make it. They will go through second seed, which is much more difficult, but still so impressive. Can't take the loss too hard to ROX Tigers. That was what expected to happen, but it was not expected that ANX would make it through at all.
No, they will definitely be the team everyone is looking at, and they kind of want to draw them here in the BO5. We just have to say that because of what we've seen here today, once we actually get the really serious games, I think Albus, they deserve to get here. They played really well, but now in the BO5s, we're going to have to see a different team.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to see what can they bring. And I do like, though, their chances in BO5s, given how unconventional their picks can be. And that's really, that is a strength when you head into BOXs.
And I think it's funny because we've kind of bandied around the term wildcard so much here. Clearly proved that they're a strong team, but I think wildcard just describes the danger of playing against these guys. You know, not the region they're from or anything like that. They are, of course, the LCL representatives, looking strong here, representing the home region, or their home region, I should say. But, like, they're just crazy. Like, it seems like, oh, they just kind of tease people and, like, best of ones, seem like where they would thrive. But it's very daunting to play against a team you're probably not prepared for that much and see what happens in a best of 5, because every game could just be nuts.
Right. That 70-minute game against ROX, for me, that sold it for me on this team, because that was so impressive to watch how they just rotated against ROX Tigers, and they brought it back against ROX Tigers, out-macroing them at multiple points in the late game, and that was so impressive.
And we got to remove this old cheese thing from them, because they're actually picking, outside of 1 or 2 picks, very standard. Like Poppy's not a crazy thing, and Nivea's not a crazy thing. It's just comfort picks for these guys. They played them really well. Brand is really the only one where we're like, wow, that is a big surprise. But we've now seen it, you know, these guys, they play just really well with the picks they have, the compositions they do have, and that's why they get out of this group. And honestly, we're better than CLG and G2.
Yep, certainly great showing there for both teams. But we are going to hand it off to Shox, who is standing by with the ROX Tigers victory support.
Thank you very much. Indeed, standing by here with Gorilla after 2 great games to close out the group stage for them. But after all that craziness, Gorilla, you guys still ended up #1 in the group, but it was difficult. How do you reflect on your team's performance in the group stage?
정말 많은 일이 있었지만 어렵게도 조 1위를 이제 확정지었습니다. 조별 예선 때 어땠었는지 간단히 말씀해 주세요.
일단 저희가 변명 아닌 변명을 하자면 처음에 스맵 선수도 많이 아프고 그래서 감기 때문에 되게 고생을 했어서 초반 첫 주차를 조금 아쉽게 보낸 게 제일 큰 것 같고요. 그래서 저희가 조금 경기를 돌아 가다 보니까 이렇게 힘들게 한 것 같은데 좋은 기회를 다시 잡아서 조이를 해서 다행인 것 같아요.
It might sound like an excuse, but Smeb was really sick in week 1, so I think as a team in general we struggled during week 1, and it took a long way around. But I think, but I'm glad that we were able to secure our first seed from groups.
Yeah, you guys did get the first seed. I do have to ask a thing that a lot of people have been asking about is what is up with the early game of the ROX Tigers. That seemed to be a specific pain point. What do you think happened?
그 많은 사람들이 이미 뭐 질문을 했겠지만 지금 락스타이거 팀의 이제 초반 경기력에 대해서 많은 지금 의문점을 가지고 있습니다. 그 좀 특별한 이유가 있는지 혹시 말씀해 주실 수 있나요?
일단 특별한 이유보다는 저희가 조금 긴장을 덜했던 것 같아요. 그래서 조금 오히려 긴장을 많이 했을 수도 있는데 조금 불리하게 시작하는 게 좀 그래서 8강 때는 조금 더 그것만 고치면 조금 좋은 경기력을 더 보여드릴 수 있지 않을까 생각하고 있어요.
긴장을 너무 많이 했다.
네.
So I think we're just there's no specific reason, but in general we're just too nervous, and by being nervous, we made some mistakes that we should have made. And I think as long as we fix those mistakes early game, then we should be fine for the quarterfinals.
Yeah, you guys are still first seed. You were saying beforehand how you were really nervous throughout this day as it was so close. How did you personally experience today?
개인적으로 오늘 경험이 어땠었나요?
제가 ANX 경기를 할 때 마지막에 55분쯤에 제가 손이 저리더라고요. 손이 경련이 와서 포즈를 걸까 말까 이렇게 고민을 했었는데 참 진짜 이렇게 프로게임 하면서 좋은 경험을 한 것 같고요. 앞으로 이 경험을 가지고 조금 더 성장할 수 있지 않을까 생각하고 있어요.
While playing as ANX, around 55 minutes in the game, actually my hand was shaking a lot, and I was even considering asking for a pause. And overall, I think I had a really good experience, and through this experience, I could grow even more as a professional gamer.
All right, well, we will see what we can see from the ROX Tigers in the quarterfinals. Congratulations, Gorilla. Thank you very much. Homan and Analyst Desk close up today.
Thank you, Shox. It has been decided. ROX will have the #1 seed out of Group A, and Albus NoX Luna seed #2. Do you have something you want to say right off the bat? Because otherwise, I'm going to dive into something else.
I just want to say, like, the end of the group, we have ROX Tigers #1, and we have some of best players that play on the European server in the second place. So all in all, not that much surprise.
All right, Prepo found his way to have some pride in the standings at the end of the day. No, but if there is one thing that I want to talk about here, it has to be criticism towards the Albus NoX Luna draft, particularly with that Olaf ban. I mean, we heard the casters talk about it, but you just saw Peanut go nuts on Elise in the prior game, and then you give it to him again.
I mean, the only reason that I could think of them letting it through, it was the very first matchup, and it was that fact that Stejos played the Graves into Peanut's Elise, and that's what ended up giving them that advantage in the first time that they played the ROX Tigers. That's all I can think of, because you just saw him obliterate on Elise. You haven't really seen an Olaf like performance from him where he's going off or anything like that. It is just so strange to see.
At the same time, we can't truly judge this game because Stejos went for a level 2 Gromp gank bot lane, which is like, in no conceivable world would that ever lead to a kill.
Yeah, and the punish wasn't even that serious. So, I think that, whilst that swung the game, it led to a blue buff invade and like crazy things were happening, but Stejos got back on track. I think the biggest thing to take away from this is, individually, ROX Tigers are so incredibly impressive. I mean, we've just seen another good game out of Peanut. We've seen another great game out of their bottom lane duo. And even Kuro is looking stronger right now. I think that as an overall whole, you really do have to evaluate these teams' individual strengths and then how they bring it together as a team.
At the same time, though, I want to see junglers challenge Peanut and force him into these decisions where he actually has to make the right call in terms of counter jungling. I think the blue buff contest was definitely not wrong, but when somebody shows bottom side of the map after clearing early on right side, the correct play in many people's book is to invade top left of the side of the map. Really go for that counter jungle, steal away his hopes, dreams, and camps. But Peanut, on 2 different occasions today, has chosen not to go for the aggressive counter jungler. I hope for him that he has a good reason that I'm too dumb to understand, or if somebody can actually challenge that and punish it later.
Yeah, the only reason that I could come up with is the fact that instead of just making it a very selfish, like, oh, because of that, the jungler gets ahead, Peanut gets ahead. In this case, Peanut gets ahead, and he allows Kuro to stay in the mid lane and actually fight Kuro one-on-one with that blue buff, and that creates a little bit of a lopsided matchup early. But you did see Kuro still actually struggle in that matchup despite that.
Yeah, because when he went for the blue buff, he actually when Kuro went for that blue buff contest, like, yes, they got it in the end, but he went down like 10, 12 CS in that entire exchange. So overall, I think there was a better map movement to be made for the Tigers, but obviously we never know entirely everything that goes into the thought process. Maybe there was some hidden information. Maybe they didn't have the full overview like we did. I just want to track this more throughout the next stages of the tournament.
And while maybe we don't think that that was the best decision in the moment, we have to recognize the fact that Peanut today has stepped up massively for the ROX Tigers. If there was somebody who was really underperforming last week, has on that Olaf game, he came up big for them this time around and will receive our final player of the game honors.
I think it's a lack of hesitation now coming out in his play. He looked nervous, honestly, coming in to this day, and even last week. Last couple of days, he shook the cobwebs off, looked much more improved, and I think that that lack of hesitation through the support role, through the jungle role, unlocks everyone else on the ROX Tigers to follow up and be decisive in their gameplay as well.
Yeah, he's very decisive, but watching his player cam during the game, he is just laughing. He's having a great time. Even if they're losing in the early game, it just looks like he has such high morale, and the team just gets really hyped off of that.
Definitely want to echo what Zyrene's saying there. Like the post-game reactions, just from turning around when they're done playing, he's just like, he just looks like a happy child in his seat.
It's very bubbly.
Glad that he's here to play and performing, and he's one of the best players in his role in the world.
All right, now let's talk really briefly about the implications of this 1 and 2 seed. Just because, again, when you think about who's going to be coming out of the other groups in those 1 and 2 seeds, the likes of perhaps SKT, EDG in the 1, either RNG or TSM in the 1 seed. Now as Albus NoX Luna in that 2 seed, everything gets a whole lot scary for you moving into quarterfinals, whereas for the ROX Tigers, they're exactly where they want to be.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, when you have a look at the 2 seeds that are going to come out of this tournament, we thought there was a big layer of cream on top, which, are the TSMs and the EDGs and SKTs and the ROX Tigers now, but there is all this milk underneath. And, I mean, ANX now falls into that, and I think it's going to be very hard for a lot of these Seed 2 teams to actually challenge Seed 1.
It'll be very hard for ANX, but for ROX, it'll still be challenging if they get a Group D pool. Because whatever Seed 2 makes it out of Group D is still going to be incredibly challenging.
That is very true, and we'll see them play on Saturday. But with Group A's destiny decided, let's take a look at the final standings. ROX Tigers and Albus NoX Luna are locked into the quarterfinal bracket and will continue their quest for the Summoners Cup. Counterlogic Gaming and G2 have been eliminated from Worlds 2016. Now tomorrow, Group C does battle. First, Chinese #1 seed Edward Gaming comes up against the CBLOL's INTZ. Group C teams will each play their final 3 matches tomorrow. Any ties will be decided immediately at the end of the day's scheduled matches. Gentlemen, as you look at this group and the schedule ahead of us, what are the teams that you're perhaps looking, to make a big statement tomorrow?
A lot will be decided in that AHQ versus H2K match. Depending on how the group's going to play out, because everybody expects EDG to keep up the upward trend, and INTZ will likely buckle under the pressure, but we never know.
Yeah, you never know, but I do want to see how much of the upward trend actually comes through for EDG, because if you look at their solo queue accounts and what they're like 2 scrim blocks a day, and they're all in challenge now pretty much, this team, so they have really been like, nose to the grinder, actually putting in the hard work over the break, and you would expect EDG to actually fly out of the gates this time around. They said themselves they were a little bit nervous. Def said he froze in his seat after the INTZ loss, and then was kind of like, if this happens again, our Worlds is going to be kaboom like last year. So I really do think that these guys are, trying to get themselves into a winning mindset and trying to, move forward.
Yeah, I'm looking at INTZ personally from Brazil, because I think that this is a team that they showed what they were made of when they played against EDG. I think they still have a lot of that left in the tank, and that they'd be able to pull it out against teams like H2K, which I know that they have actually played against a lot back in Europe when they were practicing. And I know that also AHQ, those skill levels between these teams are not as far apart as people were thinking. The gap is closing.
Now, and if today is proof of anything, it's exactly that INTZ could make a similar run to Albus NoX Luna to getting out of the group stages. But I now want to hone in one more time on this AHQ H2K matchup, as I think that's where most people are looking at the competition for that Seed 2. What do we think is the major differences between these squads and where things might hinge?
I think it's the late game decision call making, right? AHQ just looks so much more polished in that area, and H2K, honestly, they look like they still have a good laning phase, but that is one of their shot calling just has to really be questioned.
The biggest problem for H2K for me is the fact that they can't alter once a call is made, because the nature of their shot calling is very chaotic in a sense that people start shouting the same things over and over. So it's not like kill target X, it's more like X, 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 which means nobody else can jump in. Hey guys, perhaps this is a bad idea. Shall we retreat? Rotate? No. Once the call is made, we're going in, and that leads to very like snowbally maneuvers and very little room for pivoting, which makes their Baron dances very poor. Sometimes their TPs are too forced as well.
Yeah, I've actually had a big problem with their team fighting. I feel like their team fighting, they are not guarding each other. They're not peeling for each other. It's always, this is the target, kill the target, and they don't change in the middle of the fight. I think about the fight where Ryu actually had a terrible path by the Baron pit, as Cassiopeia is not relative to his team at all. He doesn't know who's coming in, and he's actually just being way too aggressive. And I don't know what the call is at that point, but it just seems like they are not on the same page in these team fights in that middle of the late late game.
But the individual strength is still there, especially in Ryu. Him against Westor, if they do start Westor again, is a big skill mismatch for me, and I do expect Ryu to be able to exploit that.
All right, well, there's some thoughts on tomorrow's games, but that's going to do it for today. So stick around because in just a few minutes, Rivington, Deficio, and Zyrene will be here to talk about the day's results in another edition of Worlds Tonight. That's going to do it for us, though. So for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew here in San Francisco, thank you for watching, and we'll see you mañana.
There's so much pressure on G2.